Mr. Seth O'Byrne. Hey everybody, can you hear me okay? Everybody good? Did you have dinner rolls? Please don't tell me you had bread. Everyone's gonna fall asleep when I talk. Oh, this is tough. This is like talking to my wife when we get back in bed and we're laying down and, the Tempur-Pedic, and I'm like, I want to talk about our taxes. Anyways, I'm Seth O'Byrne. I'm a guy. I do what you do. We do the same thing. I'm really lucky to be here on stage. I'm going to tell you what I did, how I did it, how I figured out I was doing it completely wrong, some of the embarrassing stuff, and then we're going to end with a crescendo, final slide, and then everybody takes naps. Okay, so I've been selling real estate for 21 years. I work with Compass, pretty big company. You've probably heard of it. But I've been through just about every single market. I started when I was 20 years old, not legal yet to drink, which is an important part of real estate, but legal able to sell houses. So that's how I got through the first part of my career. Picked up house flipping because I figured out that was a phenomenal way to build wealth. And then got into multifamily a couple years ago after a couple of weird shifts in the market. Does anyone remember there's this thing called COVID-19 that kind of turned into like COVID-22 and COVID-23, I don't know, maybe 24. Just stuck around for a long time. And I said, oh my God, I don't have a business plan. I'm going to do something about it. So without further ado, I'm going to tell you my story. There it is. Global breakdown to personal breakthrough. It was pithy. I thought of it. I made the slide myself. Pre-2020 pandemic, I had a $100 million real estate sales business. We sell luxury real estate on the ocean front. We sell ranches in Rancho Santa Fe in San Diego, which is my market. We had a TV show on HGTV, which we filmed for 3 years for. It was amazing. I went to the bathroom in porta potties on construction sites for 3 full years. I have no idea how Tarek does it, but I do think he has his own van. I had a national public speaking career. I spoke for Inman News and National Association of Realtors, did a lot of work with the California Association of Realtors. I had ownership in a national media company. We grew to 62 markets. Has anyone ever heard of American Dream TV? I was one of the owners of that for 4 years, and it was crazy and wild, and I got a lot of Southwest points. And I had a gorgeous wife and a beautiful baby boy, which are the very good things in life. Pre-2020, there were some other things that were also true about my life. Number one, I had $0 in assets. I had a lot of cufflinks, but that was about it. It's unsellable. I had an unsellable real estate company. I had income that came only from my work, and 100% of that income was taxed. I was essentially a federal employee. An ego-driven business and an emotionally unstable personal life. Who's in real estate? Are you unstable? You can keep your hands up. I get it. And an unhealthy relationship with all of the things that you may also have unhealthy relationships with, which is anxiety, stress, alcohol, coffee, television, my wife, my family, my friends, my business partners, and my employees. I was miserable. And then I took a look at what I was doing to make myself miserable. Now, this is pre-pandemic, if you look at the top. This was my day every single day. If you want to see the secret to my success up till about 6 years ago, this is it. Work, grind, hustle, post inspirational quote on Instagram. Second, win deals, make money, go to happy hour, hand 50% of my income to the government. And then lose deals, panic, feel guilty, question my entire business, go to happy hour, complain about circumstances, and sleep it off. And I'd wake up in the morning stressed, drink coffee, do 10 push-ups, eat a half a banana, and start the cycle again. Does this sound like your Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday? I've got a bunch of Mondays like that. All right, so the pandemic hit. What I lost, my HGTV show. Couldn't film the show because we couldn't film. Next season came on, this thing I've been working for 3 years, gone. It was crazy. Gone. $400,000 in income from escrows that fell apart that month when COVID hit. Gone 3/4 of my employees. I had to let my entire employee staff go because there was this brief moment, if you remember in 2020, when we all thought we were going to go bankrupt. I let everybody go. Gone decade-long mentor because I left a company that was folding in the middle of COVID. Gone second largest oceanfront listing I ever had. Gone my speaking career because I just didn't want to speak on Zoom because that's dumb. And my brokerage, I left my brokerage. I went to Compass. In fact, I called Robert Revkin and I said, hey, I heard you're giving out money. Is that true? He's like, that's not really like what we're building the company on. I'm like, yeah, but that's like a thing, right? So I changed my entire life. I freaked out and I did something about it. But this is what COVID did for me. This is what changed my life. Warren Buffett said it perfect. It is only when the tide goes out that you learn who's been swimming naked. I had no board shorts on in my real estate career for like 15 years. I outsold everybody, but I had nothing at the end of the day, right? The government loved me because I paid them taxes. My sellers loved me because I got their stuff sold. I did a lot of public speaking because I have a gift for gab, but I did not have assets. I didn't have any sort of exit strategy, which I thought was going to be like a mañana solution, but unfortunately, as I started having a receding hairline, I realized like mañana was today. Like today was mañana. And I was like, oh shit, I should do something about this. Thank you, COVID. So I'm going to explain my two big realizations in the form of t-shirts. One, I didn't actually realize that aging would happen to me like personally. Do you know that feeling? You're like young and hot, and you're like, man, I look like an Abercrombie model. I'm going to have abs forever. And then it happens. You get old. And then millennials walking around like they rent the place. Look at these guys. That was me. This was me. 2 t-shirts. Number 1, I can't work forever. I can't. Your back hurts, your knee hurts. You don't like people that much in your 40s. You love them in your 20s. You drink with them in your 30s. You have them in your late 30s. And then by your 40s, you're like, I've had enough people. I don't want to work for a living anymore, right? Number 2, I need to own assets because if you start having a problem with customer service every single day and start just thinking to yourself, you're like, I'm basically like working at a fast food joint. I'm just selling like condos and it's just all customer service at a higher level. I need to do something that pays me, right? That isn't taking orders and running a business and saying please and thank you and knowing the customer is wrong but saying they're not wrong because you don't want to lose a listing. So what am I going to do about it? Well, there's a couple things that happened to me, all of which were very, very powerful. And does anyone have kids here today? You're going to relate to this. After my second child, I finally understood these 3 statements, and they changed my life forever. The title that I was working on was Zen and Capitalism. You're going to start seeing a trend here. There's like realizations plus let's get rich all in one. I had to become a dad twice to become a man once. Here's what I realized when I had my second kid. 1, I won't be remembered. No one cares, and I don't matter. And as scary as that is for anyone who doesn't have kids, once you have kids, you realize that's the good thing. That's the good point. The moment where you don't matter, you change everything you do fundamentally in your life forever. Number 2, my job is just a job. So if I get 200 likes or 2,000 likes on Instagram, it's still a job. My business is not my identity because I'm not a real estate agent. I'm Seth. I'm me, right? I'm much more than that, and you're much more than that as well. And number 3, your ego is not your friends. Have you ever taken an expensive listing because you want other agents to know that you took it? I'm the only one with my hand up? All right, well, cool. This is a fun talk to me. Number 3, partnerships fail, cash disappears, and people keep on scrolling. And then they flush, and then they scroll. Right? So these things are true, and I'll fight anybody in the parking lot if you disagree with me. There's only this, and so what do you have to do? How does this fundamentally change how you live? You only leave the house if you're working to buy back time. This is a little depressing, so get ready, and no one fall asleep, please. These graphs I looked at right around the same time that COVID was hitting. Time spent with family goes down. Time spent with children going down. Time spent with partner go down, and time spent with coworkers goes down. I don't care so much about the coworkers, but look at this. Look at these graphs. That little line that I drew there, that was me at 40, realizing I'm going to see my kids less, spend time with my family less, my partner less, and then maybe way too much at the end, right? If we're being real. Time spent alone, Gulp. Look at that. I'm going to be lonely, like soon. So while I spend all my working years feeding my ego and my short-term income, I could be instead changing my business to set myself up to be doing really cool things when I'm 60 and alone, like one-person jet skis or whatever, right? I need to come up with a plan in my 40s so I'm not still doing what I'm doing in my 40s and my 60s. This became very, very obvious. And so I realized these things. This is my beautiful family. You don't have to applaud or say "aw," but you can if you want because I can hear you. Thank you. Number one, assets give you time, right? If you're getting paid rent from rent checks, that gives you time. If you invested in a flip and you're getting paid out on it, you're getting paid and you don't have to work that day. I one time told my life coach something that I realized, which is I quoted myself to my own life coach, which is about as douchey as you're going to get in life. But I did. I said, I realized this thing. Every day I go to work for short-term income, I am then forced to do the same thing the next day because I didn't solve tomorrow's problem today. Conversely, the days that I spend figuring out how to get out of making commissions my only way that I make money, I may one day, mañana, not have to work. 2, assets pay you handsomely. I realized selling real estate only got me from where the bathrooms are in Southwest flights to the front. But all my friends that had apartment buildings, they had their own planes and their own bathrooms. Or like they were like, it was a jet share, whatever. You get the idea. But needless to say, assets pay you handsomely. 3, assets are transferable. I'm sure you guys all have little ones you love. This is my little guy. He lost his teeth right before this photo. And that's us in a flip. This is what we do every single weekend. I take him to our projects. I take him to our ADUs, our apartment buildings, our flips that we're doing. I take him on construction sites, and we hang out. He tells me what tile he likes. He tells me what he doesn't. He yells at people when they're not cleaning up after they do work. He's actually a little tyrant. But this is my life now. I don't even know where my tie is. I can't even find it. There is a shift in how you live when you're able to make this transition. It's huge. All right, breakthrough. I established clear goals. Goal number 1, find money. Does everyone believe that not having money is the thing that holds you back from being an investor and developer? It's not true. It's not true. It's very much not true. In fact, there's a lot of people, Jason's probably the top of the list, that'll give you money if you've got a good real estate deal. So you have to establish a goal for how to find money. Because you getting wealthy through real estate is not about having the money. You get the money by knowing how to get the money, which means you have to understand how to buy and sell real estate for yourself. Number 2, buy real estate that pays me, apartment buildings, right? Number 3, keep more of what I make through depreciation and cost segregation. And number 4, this is covered up, but what it says is go make out with my wife and skateboard with my kids. Apparently, I censored myself. So breakthrough. Breakthrough is I made a plan around cash. This is probably one of the most important limiters. I'll be the first to admit, if you don't tell anybody, that I thought that you had to have money before you got rich with real estate for a decade of me selling real estate. I was advising people on real estate without understanding fundamentally how real estate came together. Like I knew the bank gave you 80%, I just didn't know about the other 20%. I was like, uncle died, right? Scratch off tickets, sell those nesting dolls that you like found at a garage sale on Antiques Roadshow. I don't know, like you get the money somehow. I couldn't figure it out. So number 1, I partnered with a house flipper and I used my commissions. I reinvested my commissions in order to multiply my commissions. Some of you in the audience do this. Some of you don't. For those that don't, you should definitely listen. This is a pretty huge deal. And I actually break out the math in a couple other slides. So I'll show you exactly how I did it. Number 2, find other investors to flip and scale through syndication. Syndication is where you get a bunch of people, and one guy goes, I got $5. And the other guy's like, I got $1 million. We're like, sweet, syndication. Essentially, we're putting people together, right? Because none of us have all the money. Maybe Jason Mitchell has all the money. But not everybody has all the money, right? But you can find people who do. And you can take down better deals when you have more money and access to money. And so start having uncomfortable conversations with people about how much money they have in their checking account. Like, that's the biz. I raise equity every single day. I was raising equity on the way here. I was trying to get money from someone. I go, I know an old building. There's crackheads in it. Is this a good pitch already? You got some of that money? Like, that's what I do for a living. And then number 3, structure flips and cut myself into deals. This is using 100% of other people's money. This is when you're like, hey, I know on Instagram I'm showing me like posing in front of all the houses I'm selling. I don't have enough money for a flip. You got money? You got some money? So this is it. These are the 3 ways. You can partner and use your money to make money. That's some baller stuff right there. 2, you find other investors to do flips and you scale through syndications. You partner, you marry your money to money, right? And then number 3, you structure flips where you do all the work. You use that giant, gray, slimy brain inside of your skull and you come up with ideas on how to buy things undervalued and sell them for more money, and you convince other people that your idea is so good that you get their money. Remember, Steve Jobs did this exact same thing when he created Apple. He said, I don't have any money, but I have a good idea. His idea was complicated. I don't know if I could think of it. But does everyone know that like 600,000 is more than 300,000? Right? Flipping is simple math. Simple math. And in the markets that you're experts in, you can use this knowledge to become so dominant. Pro tip, you will never have enough money to partner with. I've told you that enough. You get the picture. Okay, so this is how I did it. I'm sharing with you right now a lot of personal financial information. I don't know why, but you should have to go through like CAPTCHA or prove you're not a robot before I do all this. But breakthrough, surprise, it worked. I tried it and it worked. It's crazy. I saved up $180,000 through commissions. That was roughly 9 real estate transactions. In California, I make about 20 grand per real estate closing. And I saved up 9 of them, which is awesome. Very proud of myself to save up 9. I then took that $180,000, I invested in a flip. And we found a very gnarly situation with 26 cats. In fact, we thought there were 22, but 4 of them were actually in the drywall. I know, it's hard. This is dirty money. But we found a pretty gnarly cat lady house and wine bottles everywhere and, pill bottles everywhere. And she needed the money. We needed a house with 26 cats. It was a marriage of opportunity. I then turned that 180 into 343,000. This is important. I was still selling other houses during this period of time, but I just added the equivalent of 17 more transactions, right? If an agent sells 17 homes in a year, that's kind of a big deal, right? At least on Instagram or TikTok, it's a big deal. I didn't do anything. I didn't have to pick up any of the cats even. So you're scaling your money, right? You're taking your commissions that you earned. You're giving it to someone that knows what they're doing. You're multiplying your commissions, which means less house sales. Has anyone been to a home inspection? Foundation inspection? Roof inspection? Has anyone shown property the entire weekend? So that times 17 or a couple cats, right? I took the cats. It made sense. So you think about all the effort it takes you to not scale your money. We think about the risk of doing this. What about the risk of me having to do 26 transactions instead of 17, right? Doing all this business, instead find a way to scale your money. Finally, and this is where it gets sexy, tax law really is so sexy. I'm going to try to convince you of this today. We invested the $523,000 into a rental that we bought for $1.25 million. We then depreciated the asset. We're now about to demo it, and we're going to build 8 units there. But we took the $523,000. I then sold my ownership to other people and got back $373,000 of that money. I'm only in the deal for $150,000. But I structured the right deal in the right way. And by the way, do you know how I figured out how to do this? I Googled it. That's true. I'm doing real estate deals on Google, just like probably everybody else. Or if you're younger, AI. But I Googled it and I figured it out. How to structure a deal where I can take bonus depreciation in a high level, legally and correctly, while having less of my money in the deal. Well, what happened next is really where I go, holy moly, holy guacamole. I did a cost segregation, and I wrote off 30% of the purchase price, which you can do in the state of California and many states. But anyways, based on the value of the land, we wrote off 30% of the purchase price. I got $375,000 in losses that next year, which at my tax bracket meant I saved $150,000 in taxes. I did not give to the government. Remember how much money I had in the deal? 150 grand. I didn't do it. This is literally how it worked. I don't know how the math was exact. It's amazing. But I have no money in a deal in an 8-plex worth $6 million. I didn't pay taxes, and the government bought me a building. Legally. This is crazy, right? And then from that, then we took the $523,000 and put that back in our pocket, and then we started doing more flips. We did 55 grand on a duplex. We did a little wholesale deal where we took a house, painted it white, put in staging. We all remember 2022, and we just sold it. And then $230,000 on a little single-family home. And then I took the money off the table, and I started looking for out-of-state properties. And then from that point, me and my partners teamed up with my main good friend who builds thousands and thousands of housing units all over America, and we started building ADUs in San Diego. We have a $100 million real estate fund now, building over 200 housing units. But though the complexity of what we do and the zoning laws and the building and the construction is increasingly more sophisticated, and we're learning more and more every single day, the fundamentals that got me to this point are the same fundamentals that got me to the next several points. And I think what's important for all of us to know, and I think Mark Zuckerberg said it best, he goes, how do you think of Facebook? How do you come up with the algorithms? How do you do this thing called Facebook? It was an old person interviewing him, right? Like, how do you do this thing called Facebook? It's that old person thing to say. But he goes, everything we do is simple. There's just a lot of it. And I think on this journey, as we try to be better, bigger, more successful, we always downplay our innate intelligence, and we remember that like every little journey starts with learning one thing, right? Like, you know when gray floors were cool, right? You know when they went out, right? You know that brown granite ain't gonna hack it anymore, right? You know that quartz is kind of, you know these things. These are things. You're a knower of things, right? You know lots of other things. And then these things build on other things. And then you GTS, you Google that shit, and you learn more things, and then you add those things up and you build businesses around them. And if anything, I'm just here, a normal dude that really wants to encourage you guys to do all of this. Oh, by the way, I have no product to sell, so I'm not even sure why I'm here. But scale time. Invest while you sell. When you flip and sell at the same time, you can double your income and work for nearly the same number of hours. What the fuck? So I don't know if I'm supposed to say that. Sorry. There's like a couch here. It feels like a living room. I'm like, we can talk openly, right? I embezzle. Whatever, just kidding. In 2022, made $600,000 flipping just 5 homes. That's the equivalent of 30 home inspections. Ugh. Do you guys have repair requests here where like people argue over who gets the toaster? 30 of those? Double? It sucks. So I don't have to do 30 of those. I just had somebody flip houses, We put in herringbone floors in the expensive ones, right? Like, this isn't brain surgery, and it's so much less brain damage. This is me, and that is flipping. And that is a steamy scene. We all remember that scene if we're born like 1980 or earlier. So scale time, buy rentals. Number 1, buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat. Disclaimer, this was made a couple months ago. I am aware that interest rates have gone up. This whole Burr thing is on rocky waters. The refinance component is getting increasingly more complicated. Do not consult me for anything. Maybe consult a lender about that. I'm pretty sure there's a couple here. Number 2, buy more rentals with the cash that you pull out of deals. We all know that you can buy ugly ducklings. There's places on the busy roads that people rent, not because they want to rent, but they kind of have to rent. Buy those and fix them up. Get your money back out and buy more. And then don't stop, get it. Keep that train going. right? You guys are really good at copy, repeat, copy, repeat, copy, repeat. That's how you sell houses over and over and over and over and over. This is the same exact process. All right, I'm getting close to the end here. Got 5 more minutes. One, you can write off your real estate and mortgage commission income, depending on how you're a mortgage officer, from depreciating your rentals. I paid $0 in taxes this year. And this isn't being televised, so I can say that safely. I took losses on the buildings I own because the plumbing is going to go out and the roof is going to go out and the termite's going to go out. I make more money just not paying taxes than I make doing any of this crap. And you guys can do it too. You know why? Because you're real estate professionals, which means the IRS has a tax code that says you can write off depreciation, which is a changing marketplace. Bonus depreciation is changing now, and I'm not a tax professional. But this is incredible, guys. You can make real estate commissions and keep all of it and not pay taxes on it if you have enough losses from rentals that you own, which is even more an incentive to buy these things. Second, not only do you potentially not pay taxes on your commissions because you own real estate, 2, you can do a 1031 exchange from that rental to the other rental. So the government's like, all right, here's the deal. You're going to sell Sam and Sally houses. We're not going to tax you because you own stuff. Then when you make all this money, we're not going to tax you. Just build your wealth and we won't tax you. That's crazy. The one nice guy at the IRS did all this for us, I guess. Number 3, when you die, your kids get your real estate and you pay no taxes. It's called step up in basis. It is also called swap until you drop. The moment that you die, your tax basis is gone and you give it all to your kids. All you have to do in life, and this is important, you can write this down, buy real estate, exchange real estate, and then die eventually. And you have completed the circle. All right. Capitalism and enlightenment. This is the formula. This is my formula. This is a secret formula. It's like talking about how to make barbecue sauce at Arby's. The formula to make money, is about time and not money. Commissions to equity and flips, to rental properties, to tax losses. I quoted myself, and now I'm quoting the Dalai Lama. This is a really weird presentation. Dalai Lama, when asked what surprised him about humanity, he said, and you know this, I'm just saying it again, I'm sure you've heard it or read it on Instagram, man, because he or she sacrifices his or her health in order to make money, then he sacrifices his money to recuperate his health, and so he's anxious about the future, that he does not enjoy the present, the result being that he does not live in the present or the future. He lives as if he is never going to die, and then dies as if he'd never really lived. You know what? It's so crazy. Because we get out of school and we want to be cool, right? We want watches, we want cars, and those are cool. Those are cool. And we want all these things, and we build these businesses that don't serve us. And then we have to get old, car accident, kids, that kind of stuff. And you go, oh, there's more to life. Holy moly. If I'm the best, so who was the #1 real estate agent at Century 21 in 1993? No one remember? I know. Who is the number 10 agent in your town by volume in 2020? I don't know either. None of what we do matters. It doesn't matter. What we can build around it matters. Our kids matter. Our wife, our husband, our friends, our grandparents, caring for them, that matters. That matters. None of this matters. It's cool. We sell a lot of real estate. Jason sells more real estate than anyone I've ever met in my entire life. But it's the engine. We're getting tripped up on the gas. We're forgetting that we're driving a vehicle and we have a destination. So if I could share anything with you is this. I don't know. There's another. Now it's just pointing. I don't know if I'm going to be able to figure this out. Oh, wait, here we go. Hit the wrong button. Whatever, it doesn't matter. It's a picture of me and my kids. Can someone change the slide that's not me? They're probably like, can the person doing the presentation change the slide? That's what we hired you for. Anyways, there's another slide. It's me and my kids. We're at a flip. It's really cute. Oh, there it is. I told you it was cute, right? So there's never been a clear path to financial freedom. This is my manifesto for everybody right now in the theater. There's never been a clearer path to financial freedom, material comfort, emotional stability, which is also important, and time with your loved ones. And while the rest of the world has to learn about the most profitable industry in the entire world that exists, you have the knowledge and expertise to do something about it right now. So lose your ego. Namaste. Pursue passive income. Yes. And buy back time and live a purpose-filled life. Sincerely, the O'Byrne family. That is my family, and that is my presentation. Thank you.
Good? This thing's wonky. All right. Is that purpose or what? I mean, this guy is just so incredible. I have a few questions for you.
Okay.
Can we take 5 minutes of your time?
Do I sit down somewhere?
You sit down right there.
Okay.
That's how I talk to my stepson. Sit down. Now. All right. So, I feel like
Yeah.
there's a theme here today, and it's about not necessarily what you do for a living. It's what you can create with what you do for a living, so you don't have to do that for a living anymore. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's like we talk about these investments, we talk about a lot of stuff here, and to me, when we talk multifamily, it was such an eye-opener to me that I said, how did I not know about this before? But then you start talking about it, and people are like, it sounds like too good to be true. It sounds whatever. But there are avenues in life that we can invest in that changes, like what you said resonated with me, that I made more money on the depreciation than I would have made even on the asset.
100%, yeah.
But it changes everything in life, because the millions and millions of dollars you can save on taxes, or the hundreds of thousands for people out there, these avenues, these ways to create wealth, change everything.
Yeah, you know, it's really interesting because, you know, my life coach, business coach has become an important part of me, just like always fine-tuning my mindset. And one of the things that's interesting is when you're used to the struggle, because you identify with the struggle, right? Like, it's hard to sell houses. It's hard in this market. It's hard remember when it was hard to have 4% interest rates? It's hard. I can't sell anything. It's 4% interest rates.
It is hard.
It is. It's
hard.
But when you're used to the struggle and you identify with the struggle, you are a hammer that always sees a nail. But people that only see opportunity and only see good times, they don't identify with struggle.
It's good though, because it weeds out, I don't say the bad, but everything gets, as things evolve, the stronger get stronger.
Yeah.
And the weaker just fall out. Right? Like, I look at this cycle change and I say, first of all, it was needed. We could not continue to have appreciation like we had. Like, the ability for home ownership is just getting out the window. Like, we needed to slow things down a bit.
Sure.
But when we come out of this on the other side, those that are in and have survived, because we've been through 2 cycles, you are better.
100%.
Everything is better.
100%. And I think what's really interesting is, you know, I think the Fed is constantly testing us.
Yeah.
And I still don't understand all the intricacies of it, and that's another conversation. But you know, I think we in life are constantly being asked this question from the universe or the Fed. How committed are you to what you do?
Yeah, great point. I think that's what it's all about, is this change needed to happen, and we're going to test you. But it's those that continue to, for example, even talk about these investments and these pathways to create wealth. If your real estate business slows down, it doesn't matter. It's okay, because you got these avenues that make it okay. So we have to find ways to invest in our futures and everything that we got. There's multiple avenues to do it, but there are some avenues that are better than others. I have a question for you.
Yep.
So, habit.
Yes.
What habit to you is the most important in this transitional mindset?
You know, it's funny because it's a new one, and I'm pretty like new. I'm in the dating phase with this habit. We're like holding hands like this, but not like this yet. Every time I have a negative thought, I stop. And I go, what is the positive way of thinking about that? Replacing negative thoughts, just stopping. And when you're pissed, you want to stay pissed, right? It's like telling someone to calm down. They're not going to calm down. They'll throw a toaster at you. But like, when you're angry, creating, it's kind of like with meditation is similar, stopping. Just stop the madness in your head. And I think with the real estate market, as it shifts, there is always an opportunity in every negative market, right? The flipper that I work with, that I pair, and I do a lot of deals with, he calls it max fear, right? What is max fear in the market? You know, when interest rates go up and people freak out and you get no showings at your listings, that is a great time to go door knock sellers of distressed assets and capitalize on max fear. So that is a positive way of seeing a negative thing happening. So it fundamentally shifts what you do, and you realize that like there is always another side. There's duality in the economy. And we in the real estate industry, I think we're ill prepared. I think the agents that are coming up now are better prepared than I was when I was coming up. But I think all of us have to remember that when our open houses are slow, there is another opportunity that comes from that.
Yeah.
When it's hard to get loans, there are new community banks that come out of that. When it is hard to sell real estate, there are flippers that are profiting. When brokerages fail, there are opportunities for franchisees to take on brokerages. So winning and success is only one way to get wealthy. Failure and blood in the streets is one of the other ones. In fact, if you look at all the really successful businesses in America, most of them were built during years exactly like these. And so I think replacing these negative thoughts of, oh, woe is me, the interest rates are about to go up, and oh, what did Jamie Dimon say, with, oh, wow, things are getting weird. Where are the angles? I think, you know, Brian Decker, I know well over the years, more than anything out of admiration, just like with you as an entrepreneur, but Brian Decker always sees the angle. And I think that's something I really respect about what he does. There's no like, all right, things are bad. It's raining on the parade. Time to call it off. He's like, it's raining on the parade. Let's go dance, baby.
Yeah.
Like, let's go slip and slide. Like, there's an opportunity in every weird nook in the market. And I think retraining your mind to see the positive and the negative the situation is an act of personal emotional strength, because it's hard to do that.
Yeah.
When you're in panic and anxiety, you're in a spiral. It's hard to stop. But if you just try, like make a habit of trying, you will be surprised how quickly you start going, yeah, that was stupid. Like, there's no need to worry about that. Like, I'm microwaving a burrito. Why am I sad? Like, enjoy the burrito and then figure out what to do about the market. And I think that habit shift over the last 2 months, especially as the market's gotten a little weird in the last 60 days, at least in San Diego, I've seen this as a huge opportunity. AI, ooh, I'm scared. It can write your property descriptions.
Right.
Like, go surf. Like, there's so many opportunities in things that look like pain and look like failure and look like threats. And I believe very, very strongly that every agent that comes out of the next 24 to 36 months is going to be someone who fundamentally saw a pain point and said, that's going to be my strength. And so I think that's it. So take the negative, turn it into positive.
Ladies and gentlemen, Seth O'Byrne.